Hey y'all, it is Colston here, and it is T-Shop Monday. I have really missed doing these videos the last 2 weeks that I have been not feeling well. So I'll start with an update that my ear is still clogged. I've been saying I can't hear shit out of it, but I actually could hear a little. It's still clogged and it's still pressure, but yeah, it's not gone. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm on my second round of antibiotics, including a steroid this time, added to the mix, and so at this point my doc is going to put out a referral to an ENT so that we can see what the heck is going on and how we can, I don't know, relieve it a little bit. Apparently when you go into the doctor's office and you offer, when they ask how bad it is, that you seriously were considering using an ice pick or a big spoon to scoop out your eye just to relieve the pressure, they look at you a little funny. Also, if you ask them to, if they are looking in your ear and they can find a spider, cockroach, bug, I was weed eating the day before, so maybe there's some dog shit in my ear. But if it's an animal, if you can pull it out, okay, insect, whatever, pull it out, put it in a little cup for me. I'd like to take it home. I want to show it on my YouTube video. And after Doc looked in, she says, I'm sorry, Colson, unfortunately, there's not. there's not a spider, not a bug. I keep commenting that it's like Satan has taken up residency in my ear, and there's been a lot of offers for things like an exorcism to possibly get him to leave. But the funniest things actually have been my friends who are saying things like, in your ear? He's been on your shoulder for years. And I was like, wow, jerk faces. No, it was totally awesome, totally awesome. My package came in. It's been a while. My package came in. My sister sent it to me from my niece and my nephew. And I put all of their stuff on the fridge. I actually had to go get more magnets so that I could have them on my fridge. But just so heartwarming and so amazing to see the artwork from my nephew, and also every single letter that my niece wrote me, even though it was a sentence, was on its own piece of paper, folded into and taped into its own little envelope that she made, and it was freaking cute. And yes, I cried, and it was just amazing. And I wanted to give an update on that I did take pictures, send it to my sister so she could show the kiddos that their artwork and their letters are up at Uncle Colston's house. So whether we like it or not, social media plays a huge role in our day. Sometimes hours. If you actually look at your screen time, if you get that information, that little kind of snapshot for the week of how much time you spent gaming, how much time you spent on social media, documents, etc., etc. Social media takes up a big chunk of our time. People will often take the stance that social media isolates us, from in real life friends and interactions and whatnot, and it is what you make of it, right? So one of the things that I do with social media first thing in the morning that I really enjoy is I go into some of the groups that I'm a part of, whether that's trans guys over 40, whether that's trans allies, non-binary folk, whether it's LGBT, Human Rights Campaign, Trevor Project, any of these groups, right? And so one of the things that really brings a smile to my face in the morning is as I'm scrolling through new posts, right? I get my little notifications, I go check, so-and-so posted in, trans guys over 40. And I get to see how excited people are every day, every single day that I plug in, right, to the Facebook groups. And I love seeing today was my first day of tea, or this is my first day of taking estradiol, and or these are my numbers, and what I want to go up hormone wise is going up, and what I want to go down is going down, and my skin feels like this, and my hair is this, and I even laugh at the ones that sometimes I see the posts like, hey, you guys have any ideas on how to get the hair growth faster, and the answers are usually the same, like genetics, right? And so there's a lot of I guess advice on be patient, and this will come to fruition, right? However it's going to do that for you personally, right, as an individual. So it's been over a week now, and I was prepared, right, for something to make me smile, something to make me happy, something where someone shared their joy. on the page. And unfortunately, on this particular day, I like to say a buddy of mine, we've never met. He doesn't live too far away from me in Cali. And we've never actually had a conversation. But, you know, we're on Facebook and we like each other's posts and we leave comments, etc. And I've been watching this guy for a while, and you know, his posts, I love it because he makes me laugh when he says things like, you know, me and the girlfriend, and the girlfriend is his Gym, Gym, because he's going to work out and he's focused on being healthy and making healthy choices, and he's been losing weight consistently, and I'm really excited to see all of his updates and his posts. But about a little over a week ago, unfortunately, I came across his post that started with, "My secret is out." And, you know, as humans, we all have secrets. We all have things that we keep to ourselves, right? For millions of reasons. But I continued to read, and he ended up being assaulted by someone in an unprovoked hate crime. And he was hit, I don't know how many times, but I know several times just by the photos, with a bat, with an aluminum bat, Friday morning. That's, you know, again, over a week ago. And while I'm glad that they arrested the guy, the perpetrator, and I'm glad that he was in jail, I also know the reality of our world here in the U.S. And there's a lot of catch and release in our system. And you know, hate crime in and of itself, you know, adds to the charge. But I don't want to get into that piece as much as seeing these pictures reminded me. When I first moved to Reading, I hadn't been here very long, and we experienced in our LGBT community, there was a gay couple, pretty well known when it comes to nurseries and gardening, and if you ever had a question about how to make something come back to life or how to grow something, these are the guys that you talk to. And they were killed asleep in their bed. Brothers came in and killed them for being gay. Not too long after, I think it was the same weekend, they ended up these brothers down in Sacramento, and they bombed a synagogue. So just so much hate. So my buddy, which I don't have permission to use his name, so I'm not going to, but my buddy, his photos, I literally, the first time I saw them, like, it brought me to tears. I'm seeing the damage to his eye, the damage to his mouth, how swollen his face is, in these photos. And I just thought, thank God he's alive. And then at the same time, it was, oh my gosh, this happened to my brother, right? Like this, we're all brothers, sisters, family on this planet, and this happened to my brother. And I struggled to try to find, you know, words and how do you console or give condolences, and really words don't do it. So, not saying don't give words, because it's still very, very important, but for me, I just felt like it came up short. And, you know, as part of a contributing member to the Human Rights Campaign, I do believe the money absolutely is used for protecting folks that need protection, right? Who are not granted just basic human rights. And that's not just the trans community, it's any minority. And minorities seem to be the target for a lot of folks who are definitely filled with hate or consumed by hate. And I gotta say that I saw my buddy's post a couple days ago, and I love that he started with like, no rain, no snow, no, basically nothing's gonna keep me down, I'm back. And he posted a photo. And this was the greatest photo I think I've seen in a long time that really encapsulated what resiliency looks like on your face. When a week ago, the face is so distorted and he was in so much pain, physically and emotionally. And to then see it now where it's like, yo, I'm back. And there was just a spirit in him that said, you beat me with a bat, I'm still coming back, right? I'm back, I'm here. I still have reason to live. I still have reasons for why I get up every morning, why I do what I do. And I just want to say a huge shout out and thanks to my buddy for sharing his experience on Facebook. Because it lets us all know, A, resiliency is a real thing, but also so is hate. And my I guess, cautionary bit in this is as much as we try to keep ourselves safe and stay in well areas and do all those things that are supposed to make us less of a victim, victims don't make themselves victims. Perpetrators make people victims by their choices and their behavior. Just want to put that out there for clarification. Topic right now, politic-wise, for our trans and non-binary folk has to do with legislation in various states in the U.S. And today, I think I got 6 or 7 emails from different organizations with the update that Florida governor has signed the bill. It's the moniker used is that you can't say gay and you can't say trans. And really what it does is, I'm sure there are other folks, whether in the LGBT community or any other minority community, who it was made painfully obvious you were a minority, right? Whether that was in school, at a job, in your neighborhood, wherever. When you go out to play and you look around and nobody looks like you, you don't see yourself in the media. You don't see yourself represented in different places. And even when I was going through sex ed in school, it started in elementary school. Of course, it was age appropriate for the understanding. And then you get, more information as you get older in the sex ed classes. But it was always about hetero, straight sex. And it was never talked about anything other than that, right? And in the beginning, I'm kind of old, but it was all about abstinence and then, condoms and birth control. And still it was all about hetero, straight sex. And I came across a documentary on one of the streaming apps recently about LGBT community in TV. And they got their start much like African Americans did. They were the punchline. They were the joke. It was the slapstick humor. It was racist, is really what it was. And to watch the progression over the years of who was in the forefront and how they got in the forefront. It was great historical documentary, which I really enjoyed watching. But I think with this law that was just signed today in Florida, to imagine what it was like if I go back to childhood and feeling like I was different or other or less than, and how do I fit in, and how do I fit in or stand out but yet still feel safe with my peer group and feel understood and feel heard, and I think if we First Amendment is freedom of speech, and I get I'm making light of that piece, but if we don't provide knowledge and education, people come up with their own ideas of what is best practice in any topic. I remember sitting in my high school biology class. That's where we had our sex ed class. And they try to make it where people can ask whatever questions they really want to ask without, with being able to save face, right? So you write them down, they all go in the same little box and they get pulled out and asked. And one of the questions that came up was actually about petroleum jelly. And we had a student, now mind you, I'm a freshman in high school, and we had a student who asked, does it matter if you use strawberry or grape? And of course, the class just busted out in laughter because in this student's mind, jelly was the jelly you put on peanut butter and jelly. It was what you made sandwiches with. It was what you put on toast. Sometimes what you stole a spoonful out of when mom wasn't looking and then put the lid back on and put it back in the fridge. But that was our understanding as a freshman, sexually active freshman in high school, that jelly. And I think that was a long time ago. And kids still have that question. So I'm hoping that despite the governor signing this bill, that we can be assets, sources of information, sources of correct information, education, knowledge for people when they have questions, or we at least know where's a resource we can send them to. There's a lot of research done online. Kids are online often, looking up all sorts of stuff, right? Just because they have questions and they want an answer. I mean, back in the day, we had to walk down to the library and in the snow, both ways, uphill. But we went to the library and we had to use a little Dewey Decimal System and find the right encyclopedia and see if our topic was in there, if we narrowed down the topic enough to find the information. And it is so readily available at our fingertips now that our kids know how to use it. They're on screens a lot. And I just hope that despite what is happening politically, that we can look at the reality of kids have questions, kids need correct information. They need all the information so that they can make informed decisions. kids, adults, humans. We need that. We strive for that. I went into a group one time of high school kids and offered them, here's how you'll be successful in life. You ready for it? I've got a piece of paper here. Raise your hand if you want me to give you a copy. Not a single one. Because the group discussion that followed that was how important it was for these kiddos, all in high school, from freshman year to seniors, special ed, by the way, and they had the same mindset as my regular ed students, that we want to figure it out on our own. We want to do the research. We want to get the information. We want to try things out experientially and then make our own informed decisions. It's how we create independence. It's how we create autonomy. It's how we create contributing members to society. It's how we create leaders. If I can have all the information on a topic and I can take the time to study it and reflect on it and research more information on one side and the other and all the parts in the middle, right? It's never just all or nothing. There's lots of stuff in the middle. And I make an informed decision that feels good and it fits good with my values, with my beliefs, and how I view the world, my perspective, my worldview as it is. And I make a decision where I feel, yes, I had all the necessary information to make that decision. I feel empowered, right? I put in the work, I put in the effort, I got the knowledge. But if we were to imagine what the world would be like without those sources of knowledge, without people willing to share their life experiences, without people willing to talk about the small stuff, the tough stuff, the big stuff, I get so many questions from folks, friends, coworkers, even clients, right? So it's like, well, how did you know this, or how did you know that, and what are you doing with this, and what do you do when this happens, right? I see there's a lot of frustration. I'll just speak from a group I sat in on Zoom a couple weekends ago, and the topic had come up about pronoun use. And there seems to be kind of a divide in the community of like, I told them what my pronouns are. My expectation is they follow them, period, right? There's no wiggle room. There's no nothing. I'm not making any allowances for anybody who messes up, right? And that's cool. They can make their own decision, right? And their view can be different from other people's. It's all right. It's supposed to be the whole free country thing. We can think what we want to think. And then, the other side is, I just ignore it, right? And I don't address it. I don't do anything. And I just want to encourage people to really look at what is in the middle of those two poles. Certain people are able to handle a certain level of information, and certain people need a smaller level or a higher level, right? Depending on their ability to accept the information. And so, when someone asks about my pronouns, sometimes if they respond well to jokes, I'll use a joke. Oh, you didn't hear? The S and she is silent now, right? Right. And not to make light of my experience or of my pronoun, but if I walk through the world with this expectation that people are going to treat me a certain way, I'm going to be really disappointed a lot, right? Pretty darn often. If I assume that because I have told someone my name is Colston, that they're not going to use my previous name of Cherie, right? I can't expect that. I can't control them, right? The only person I have control over is myself. How I respond to things, or if I react to things, that's on me, right? How I choose to respond, my self-regulation or lack thereof, right? And I'm responsible for that. I'm accountable for however I choose to respond to that triggering event, right? So if I shut people down all the time with this, it's he, or it's Colston, it's not going to be received really well. Now, I'm not saying, if you could please, if you wouldn't mind, could you please make sure to call me Colston? I'm not going to do that shit either. Right? Again, it's finding what works in the middle, both for you, that sits well with your values and your beliefs, but also is delivered in a way, because delivery is huge. It's key. If it's delivered in a way where the other person is able to hear it and work hard to incorporate it. I have trans patients that I will be talking to the parent and I'll be like, and then and I know it just. And I think of all people in the world, I have got this expectation for myself that I should never mess up a pronoun. I'm going to mess up pronouns. And I'm trans. It's just the reality of it. So someone who is not familiar with trans, or someone who's not familiar with pronouns. Before trans visibility became a bigger and bigger thing, which, by the way, International Transgender Day of Visibility is March 31st. I want to put that plug in. You asked somebody what a pronoun was, and unless they actually paid attention in English class, they couldn't even tell you what a pronoun was. They used to do Mad Libs, right? What's a noun? Person, place, or thing. What's an adjective? I don't know. I have to look that up. What's an adverb? Oh, no, I really got to look that up. What's a pronoun? I have no idea. I do not recall. Right? So I love that just the fact that we can have a conversation about pronouns can happen. But I'm also very grateful for even the small steps, because it's the 1,000 small steps, right? That lead to this arrival at, or, the ability to reach a goal that we've set. And then once we hit that goal, we can set another goal, take another 1,000 steps, right? So I want to put out there that sometimes being accepted, not tolerated, because that used to be I just want to be tolerated. Well, I tolerate this ear infection and I haven't had hearing for 3 weeks. I'm tolerating that because there's nothing I can do about it, right? I'm trying to take medication, but it's not working. But actual understanding, or someone who is willing to accept a conversation, we're educating, right? So we don't have to be at the pulpit. We don't have to be on stage. We don't have to be on a TED Talk. But if you have that visibility, more power to you. To teach and to educate. And often it's those one-on-one conversations that are going to be internalized so much quicker, because it was tailored and it was personal, right, to the person that you're talking about. Just something to think about. So I was debating whether or not I was going to do this or not tonight. So I'm leaving work today at the community health center, and it's kind of my coworkers are like, "Hey, Colston," and I was like, "Oh, I'm in trouble, right? Like what?" And I'd totally forgotten my badge at lunch. It fell off because, I come home to let my puppy out to go potty, and we play a bit, and apparently she likes to try and eat the tag. So I take it off, put it on, a counter, dresser, nightstand, whatever, and I forget, and I go to work, and I can't get in the building. And so I have to get what they nicely called them temporary badges. I call it my loser badge. And so I'm like, "Security, I need a loser badge." Today I'm a loser, right? I left my badge at home. Can't get in the building without help. So I told them as they called me over, I'm like, dude, I gotta go turn in my loser badge, while I can catch security. And they're like, "Hey, it's been 2 weeks. Are you gonna do a T-shot Monday or what?" And I was like, "I don't know, I've got to go get my shot done tonight. There's some stuff going on in private practice, supervisors, we need to chat. I don't know if I'm gonna have time." And literally the look was like, "You leaving me hanging?" Right? And I thought, oh man, I don't want to do that, but I also want to make sure I'm respecting. So anyway, I'm doing a T-shot Monday. And they had said, when are we going to get our shout out? And so I was like, well, unless I have someone's permission to use their name, I don't do it, which is kind of like my little indirect, like, do I have permission? So in the spirit of, are you going to do a T-shot, and do we get a shout out? Julie and the unnamed person who didn't give me explicit permission to use her name. Here's your shout out, right, to the crazy people I work with. Yeah, shout out. All right, T-shot Monday. Let's get into actual T-shot stuff and updates. I have a lot of updates. It's been a while since I've been on the camera. So while I was homesick, I got a message from the big man who I've been talking to about insurance coverage for gender-affirming treatment. And back in the day, the one video that's gotten the most views was my video called Sad, where I'm just crying and blubbering through this whole video. And I'm not trying to dismiss it. It was a rough day. It was a rough day, but apparently strangers like to see me cry. And so do my friends. So anyway, it's got the most views of all my videos. It gives me something to laugh about, right? So what I had said in that video is that the last information I was given was that they were due to negotiate contracts for insurance in March. And so I started getting these messages like, hey, on the 1st, it's March 1st, did you hear anything yet? And I was like, okay, I gotta pace this out. I don't want to be a pest. Still want to be professional. I don't want to be, like pouty at work. So I gotta pick a day that I'm gonna send an email just to ask, hey, have you guys had a chance to negotiate yet? And then I got sick and I was home. So before I had a chance to send that email out, I got an instant message. He wanted to make sure that he followed up with me to let me know that as of March 1st, gender affirming services have been added to our employee insurance. Whew. I've shared that story a couple times already, and it didn't hit me. I'm tired. I don't know. It didn't hit me like it's hitting me right now. As of 3/1. Gender affirming services have been added to our employee insurance. I was so grateful. I immediately sent out emails to the senior management who all contributed in making that happen for me and also in making that happen for anybody who comes after me as an employee. So before I had a chance to reach out to my surgical team in San Fran, I got a message. I was leaving for lunch and I'm driving and I listened to my voicemail and, hey, this is so-and-so from Align Surgical and, I just want to touch base. You're on my call. Man, you're on my callback list. I just wanted to see how things are going. If you can give me a call. And I was like, oh, I have good news. I have good news. So at the stop lights, I waited till it was red, right? I hit recall, hands free, got a little mount, right? So driving legal in Cali. So I call and she answers, hello, it's Kim, Align Surgical. And I was like, Kim! Now, mind you, I've never met her. Poor thing. She didn't hang up on me. So that was totally kick-ass, right? So I was like, hey, it's Colston. You just left me a message. I just saw that you followed it up with an email. I just wanted to give you an update. Do you have time? She's like, yes, what's going on? The last thing I saw in our notes says you were working with your employer on getting it covered. And where are we at? Where are we at? She was, this excitement I could feel in her voice through the phone. And I was so excited to be able to be like, they did it! They did it, Kim. As of 3/1, gender affirming services are on. Are covered. So she goes, oh my gosh, so I can send the insurance authorization. I was like, sure. Yeah, let's do it. Holy cow. And then she says that, it takes about 15 days to hear back. So we're still in the limbo 15-day to hear back thing. And it was so amazing to hear her say, so we still have you on the books. So the moment I hear back that it has been approved, I will be doing a video. I will not wait till T-Shop Monday. I will not wait for all of these things to happen if I can help it. Not do one long video, but be able to give updates as we go along. And this weekend, I had a friend who I thought was amazing. She and her hubby and her kids, the car stopped working and they felt comfortable enough to call and ask me for a ride. It was like, no problem. And I dropped hubby off and he's like, really appreciate it. Thanks, man. And it's just, for me, it's not so much about passing, I guess, anymore as it is, for my focus, because I think I'm doing pretty well with that. But it's having interactions with people who don't say, hey, thanks a lot, girl, or whatever, and then have to correct themselves. That's never happened. I'm still caught up in the emotion of the insurance thing. But it continues to just be this this relief, and I can feel my shoulders come down and they're not holding so much tension and anxiety anymore. It has my whole life, right? So where do you carry your stress? My upper back, my feet, sometimes my lower back, but mostly it's my upper back, because you're always on guard and you're tense and am I okay? I gotta be hyper vigilant. Am I safe where I'm at? Can these people be trusted as I'm crossing paths with them on the street? Am I gonna be like my buddy who got hit with a bat? So while I get to enjoy this amazing experience, and not to downplay my amazing experience that I do get to have, but the reality is always there. There is still hate. There still is violence because of the hate and the intolerance. And I guess if I could leave you with anything at the end of T-Shop Monday today, I had walked a patient and his grandma across the street to another building today, and as we're leaving, she says to me, there was 2 things I prayed for last night, and coming to the appointment today with my grandson, you have helped us meet both of them. So I'd like to know if you know the answer for world peace. And I thought, oh, well, I could dismiss that and I could keep her ear for hours, or I could just speak from the heart. And so I turned around and I looked at her and I said, I may not have the answer for world peace, but I do know that kindness is the key to everything. And whether that's being kind to others, being kind to yourself, being kind to our environment, being kind to Mother Nature, being kind to animals, being kind to to strangers, being kind to family, being kind to people we know, people we don't know. Kindness, 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 kindness is the key. Be kind. Be kind. Go out there the rest of this week and find ways to be kind. Let someone in front of you hold the eye roll until they can't see you. I'll still consider that kindness, right? But just, it's kindness. And in our being kind to others, we are both showing someone they are worthy of respect, and we are also showing that we are a human capable of respecting others. Whether we agree with them or not, we can be respectful. On that note, have a great week. This is Colston signing off on Tea Shop Monday. Talk to you soon.